Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's session, and a warm welcome to all of you who has joined for the first time this channel. I would like to request you to do like, share, and subscribe, and also hit the bell icon so that you can get notified when I am posting any new videos. And thank you for all the feedback and comments uh, to existing subscribers. It really helps me to uh, understand what are the different topics that you all are interested, and that way like I can kind of tune my topics and be able to help you along the way. With that, let's get started. So if you remember in my last video, when I was talking about updating the persistence level at a global business process or a service level, I or activity level, I did mention briefly when I was talking about updating the persistence level in the global setting, where you can uh, update the default persistent level setting at the NoApp property file. I mentioned also that instead of updating the NoApp property file, you can also update it in the customer override. Now, today, I actually want to talk a little bit deeper into the reasoning behind not updating in the specific property file per se. Here, for example, NoApp property file, and doing all your customization or any kind of updates to the existing default properties in the customer underscore overrides dot property file. With that, let me quickly share my screen and then we can talk more on that. So here I am in my Windows desktop, and let me go to my computer and into C drive, SI install folder where I have installed Sterling Integrator, and within there is an install folder, and then there is a folder under here which is the properties file. Now if I open this, if you see most of the property file, like for example ActiveMQ, ActiveMQ URI, right, all that property file has two similar kind of files, but one which is mentioned as the properties file which has no extension, but another one is an in file which has the file name .properties.in file. So what is the difference between these two? You need to understand that before we talk more about the customer overrides property file. The in file is the template of the corresponding properties file, which means that when, let's say for example, you are trying to update or override some default setting in the active MQ property file, the recommendation is you need to update the properties.in file and run the setup files.cmd command. What it's gonna do is that setup file command line prompt actually considers the template file, which means the properties.in extension related in file, and whatever updates that you have made in that in file, it basically takes that and then updates the corresponding property file. So now you understand. So there is a caveat, so let me talk about that. Now let's say you might ask, sir, I can just update the active MQ property file, right, directly, and then I can restart the system, right? Will it work? To your answer, it will work. But when you restart, like before you even restart, like if you do that, it's gonna work. But then when you actually restart your Sterling B2B integrator server, all your settings that you have directly updated in the property file will get washed out or will get overridden by the information that you have in the in file, because in file is the template that defines what you have in the property file. So all your settings that you had actually stored directly in the property file will be gone after a restart or a recycle of your server, which you don't want ideally in any scenarios. So hence the idea is always update the .in file, run the setup files cmd command, and then it's going to replicate that in file related changes to the property file. So here is the first thing, that you need to consider. The second thing is the importance of customer underscore overrides the property file. Now, if you look over here, and if I go at the customer, like trying to search if there is a customer overrides file. Now, if you see over here, I'm scrolling all the way and I don't see any customer underscore overrides the property file. So you might have a question, where is that file that we were speaking about in the previous video? The answer to that is customer underscore overrides the property file is not something that is created by default and stored or saved in the properties folder. It is a properties file which you need to create fresh, and you need to save it in this property folder to be able to use it. So that is something, it's a manual step that you need to do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new, let's say, a text document, and I'm going to name it customer underscore overrides dot properties. Let me do one quick thing. Let's see the folder option and then view. Let's unhide it so that I can see all the files with the extensions. So typically all the files are having a dot properties and then dot properties dot in, right? I just selected the unhidden option. Now let's go to customer. So see if there's a dot txt because that was hidden. My requirement is there should not be a dot txt. The way it is the file name should be customer underscore overrides dot properties. That's the file you need to create it manually. Now you will ask, what is the importance of having this? The importance of having this is whatever changes or updates that you need to make in your environment by updating the properties file. It can be any file, it can be a protocol related file. There are many reasons, several reasons that I'm not talking about right here, that slowly and organically, okay, you might encounter certain scenarios. Therefore, overcoming that, you need to update the properties file, and to do that you need to come to this properties folder. Now you can do it to the individual properties file, but instead the recommendation of the best practice is always make sure all your customization or all your uh, changes that you are doing at the properties file is done at the customer underscore overrides the property file. Why? Instead of the individual files, but making sure that the way that you do it is within the customer underscore overrides, you need to prefix the specific properties file name dot and then the parameter name and the value of it. That's the format. That way, the system understand that if there is a prefix of noapp dot something x equal to y, then when you run the set of files, it takes the customer override property file, looks into that prefix and understand, oh, this is a parameter that lives within the noapp properties file, and it updates the noapp property file, right? But the importance of customer override is beyond that. What? One is centralizing definitely all the changes into one place, right? So you don't have to traverse to individual files to look into, oh, what are the changes I've made in this file versus what are the changes I've made in this file. The other importance is when oftentimes we in Sterling B2B integrated environment, we have to do some fixes or any patches that you need to apply, or maybe you're moving from one specific version to a next version. When you do those kind of upgrades or patches, what it does is that that entire process actually overrides all your changes that you have done into those individual properties file. That means that all your customizations or all your changes are completely gone after those kind of patches or upgrades. It doesn't retain those information. So then you are in a trouble because now you want your system to be at the same state before the upgrade how it was. How to ensure you have that is ensuring all your changes are centralized in the customer overrides property file, because this is one single file that is never touched or updated or removed for by any patches that you apply, any fixes that you apply, any version upgrades that you do, it gets retained. That way, you get to retain all your changes, and you don't have to then go and look and search, and then that's gonna become a mess, right? And it's gonna take more time. So, hence the importance of custom overrides come into picture, right? I hope I was able to make you understand the reasoning behind updating everything in custom override versus individual property file. With that, I'm going to complete today's session. I hope this was useful to most of you. And then those who are new, please like, share, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so that you get notified. And I'll see you in our next video.